My towel again. This one's going to be a little hip stretch. We're going to start with one leg extended out to the front. Very important that your back foot stays parallel. So this back foot shouldn't wing out to the side. You want to keep it parallel. Extend one leg to the front. Arms are in second position and you're holding your spine. So for some dancers, they might be like this. This tells me they really need to find their center of gravity and their core stability. All we're going to do is lunge forward, 2, stretch, 2, forward, 2, stretch, 2, forward, 2, stretch, 2, forward, hold it here. Arms up, hold, watch that knee, get a nice little stretch through your hip flexor. Hands down, get a little hamstring stretch, pull it back. Make sure that you're square so you're not twisted here. You're inviting this hip to pull back, this hip flexor to come forward. Keep the heart lifted and bring your heart toward your shin. Good, we're going to switch sides. So bring down that knee, extend the opposite leg. Arms up, ready, and we lunge it forward, 2, and up. Long toes, belly button to your spine. Make sure that you're not laying your tummy on your thigh. So if you see dancers doing this, their alignment is incorrect. They have to stay stacked. Shoulders and hips in a straight line. You can take it a step further and have them lift their arms overhead. They can even use a yoga block over their head so that they maintain stability here and use their back so that they're working all of the muscle groups there. Hold this one down. Hands go down. Little stretch. Square it up. Bow forward. Good. Toe down. Pull that knee underneath. We're going to come to standing on one foot. So this is going to work a lot of stability on this side with the knee, but it's also going to work my core and my hip flexor because I'm going to pull up to passe. So without using your hands, your arms are going to pull up to fifth. You're going to pull to a passe. This leg is never going to hit the floor. So my foot stays in this tucked position as I stand up, push down, all the way up, open, down for 2, up, 2, open, 2, down for 2. Again, up, 2, lift, and down. You can see how I'm getting wobbly as I do more of these. Open, close, and switch. Other side. So I'm going to come down, bring this leg up. So as you're going into that standing position, think of rooting down through your foot that's here. Don't think of leaning forward. Think of standing up and pushing down through this leg. So you're going to lift up 1, 2, open, and lower. 2, 3. Now push down, up. Lots of glute work here. Lots of core stability. Lots of knee strength. And again, up. Open, lower down. One more, up, open, lower, and down. Good, shake it out. Let's move on. We're going to do some of our footwork. I'd like you to grab, first we're going to grab our ball. If you have a tennis ball, that's great. If you don't, you can also use your yoga block in a skinny way. You're going to take your ball and you're going to place it between the heels of your feet in that parallel position here. So the feet are a little closer than hip distance apart, but they're not quite touching. And we're going to rise and lower. Now, if you don't have a ball, you can also place the yoga block here. The idea is to get you to keep that nice straight alignment as you rise up. Very common for dancers when they go up is as they lose their balance, they start to roll out, right? And we want to maintain the weight between the second and third toe. So by having something in that midline to assist in that reminder to keep that weight moving this way, it really helps make that muscle memory. Hands on your hips, rise up for 2, down for 2, up for 2, down for 2. Again, up and down, up and down. 5 and lower. Try to get higher each time. 4. Watch the toes. Make sure they're not crunching up. Keep them long and extended. 3. Think of like jazz toes. Down. 2 more. 2. Down. 1 more. Shoulders down. Lift and hold. Hold this one up. And release. Good. Take it. Take your ball, shake it out. Now you want it a little wider. So if you have a yoga block, you can take your yoga block and put it in between the heels this way. If you don't have a yoga block, and you have a box, if your box is really wide, this is probably going to be a little wide for me. It could probably work for today, but I would recommend getting something that is more appropriate to your shoulder girdle. So the yoga block works great. I have a whole series of exercises I use with pool noodles, and I'm actually going to do a workshop for teachers on that, where you can cut your pool noodles and use them for various exercises, and this is one of those great ones that you can use it for. So your feet are wide, we're just going to do the same thing with your releve. If you want to level up, you can take your yoga block and put the arms overhead and rise, lower, rise, lower, rise, lower, rise, lower, rise, lower, rise. Hold this one up. Now we're going to add a plie, so it's a 4 starch position. And stretch. Check out your arms. Are they starting to float forward, or are they staying over top? And stretch. So this is really good because those dancers that like to sway their backs, they'll see their back release and get the hips underneath them. And stretch. You can also put your hands on your hip flexors. So as you plie, you can feel if you're starting to crease too much. See how my hands are going down? I want to keep that pelvic alignment nice and flat through the front, even in that 4 starch position. And shake it out. So that's a really great exercise to work on stability on your ankles and feet. I'm going to do a few more things. Let's see, I need the ball. We're going to do a little foot exercise. But before we do the ball, let's do the doming. So I'm going to do it up on the yoga block so you can see it a little better. For those of you that have never done doming with your feet before, it's actually easier to start with your hands. So I'm going to use my hands first, and I would encourage you to do that as well. So take your hand and lay it flat. And it's like someone's grabbing the knuckles, and you're making this cupping position with your hands. So your toes, or in this case my fingers, are staying long and connected to the floor, but it's making this dome effect, this shape, this little cup onto the floor, this little suction. This is working your intrinsic muscles in your feet. This is really great for dancers. And it helps them get rid of that tendency of the crunchy toes, which is not good for stability. You can't have crunchy toes in point shoes, and it's improper alignment. It's going to put more stress on your toes, and especially your big toe flexor, which will cause all kinds of foot, ankle, calf, knee, hip issues. So the doming is just lifting and lowering. So to do that with your foot, I'm going to do it up on the block so you can see my foot a little better. I'm going to keep my toes long, and I'm just going to dome my foot up. So there's that little cupping under here. Release, lift, release, lift, release. And this is an exercise that dancers should do on a regular basis to strengthen their feet and work their feet in the correct alignment without those toes crunching. So I would do about 10 of these domes. And you can see, I don't know if you can see my foot, but you can see the muscles when they contract into that doming position. You're really trying to keep those toes as long and lengthened as you can as you dome. So you're really working in this arch. So let's try the other side. So your foot is going to go onto the floor. You can even do this sitting in a chair, or so that you're sitting up above and just work the foot. It's kind of awkward doing it on the floor on here, but I'm trying to get you to see the visual. So we dome and down. And you might notice that one foot is stronger or takes to this a little bit easier if you've never done this than the others. And that's normal. And just keep doing it. So the more you do it, the more it's going to become muscle memory. I was recently in a training for neurokinetic therapy, and it's a basic course in dysfunctional movement correction. And a lot of people go to physical therapists and trainers when they have an injury, and it's usually due to a dysfunctional movement pattern. 2 more of these. And in order to fix it and have that become a brain-body connection, it takes 700 repetitions of that connection to fire correctly to correct the dysfunctional movement pattern. So for instance, if you're used to going up and always going out on your releve, and all of a sudden you roll your ankle and now you have a sprained ankle, and you go to physical therapy and they have you do the exercises and you do them, and you're like, okay, my ankle's better now, then you go back, and then you keep having that recurrent injury. You haven't had that corrected pattern done enough to make that connection be what you go to. So when you're on stage, your brain-body connection is going to go to its most remembering, and that is your old pattern, because most people don't do the full gamut of repetitions that need to correct that dysfunctional movement. And that's one of the reasons why I really love conditioning and training dancers from a young age correctly, because if they get trained correctly with the brain-body connection from the young age, then there's no dysfunctional pattern to fix later. And usually the dysfunctional patterns aren't an issue until they get 10, 11 and start really working more advanced moves, and that's when they tend to get more injuries and have repetition of the same recurring issue. So it's really important to start at a young age. Our next exercise, sorry, I went off on a tangent, is our piano toes. So if you've never done this exercise, again, it's articulating each toe individually. It really works all of the digits. So I call it piano toes. I've heard it called piano toes. I've heard it called some other things too. But I think for kids, it's easiest to think if your hands are on the keyboard and you're going to play the scale and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? It's the same thing when you're doing it with your toes. Now, this is extremely hard. My left foot is not good at all, and my fourth toe is not good at all too. So you can assist yourself. You can hold the other toes down, but basically what we're going to do is you're going to alternate. One toe goes up, then the next toe, next toe, next toe, baby toe, and then baby toe. And you'll notice my other toes want to fight sometimes. And lift that toe, toe, and really articulate each toe. And usually your big toe is your easiest one, because that is the toe flexor muscle is really big and it runs all the way up, and so you have a lot more mobility there and control of that, but it's very difficult to get those mobility. So I would do piano toes at least 3 times on each foot in each direction. And when you get really good at it, you don't have to hold yourself with the toes. Try to not look at it and just feel that connection through the toe, through your brain, because that's when you're going to know you have good firing signals. Try the other side. So covering all 4 toes, just the big toe up and down. Then I switch. I lift that middle toe, and I told you my left foot is not as good as my right. And then I lift very little, very little. And at first, you may not move at all. And you feel like you're trying to do it, but the more you practice it, the better you're going to get it. One day you'll be like, oh my gosh, my toe is actually moved. So I would really encourage you not to give up and actually try to make it happen. And even if you have to like give yourself a little assistance, just so you feel what that feels like. So I would do that 2 to 3 times on that side. The last thing that we're going to do today is we're going to do a rollout of our foot. And I'd like to do a whole class on myofascial release because I think it's pretty amazing, some of the before and after that you can get. And it's part of the flexibility training thing that I will do as well, because I've had some really great people in my life that have really taught me a lot about flexibility and how the body works. And if you have a chance, I would highly recommend following Dr. Alexis at AZ Dance Med. She has some certification courses. She also has short body series that she's doing right now online. And it's really amazing, some of the work that she's been able to do, where she mirrors her doctorate of physical therapy with her professional dance career.